hats off to entrepreneurs. You bring value to our community by creating jobs and building wealth. Aspire Enterprise of Florida is your premier one-stop resource for strategic business coaching, business trainings, and business services. Our elite team of business professionals have over 30 years of expertise to serve small business owners, not-for-profit organizations, and individuals. Aspire Enterprise, where your needs are our priority.
Palm Bay and our surrounding communities, I would like to thank you for your tremendous support. As we move into the fall months, Palm Bay Live is seeking your support so we can continue to deliver valuable programming. Your monetary donations will help us so we can achieve those goals. You can donate online at www.palmbaylive.com. Advertisers are also welcome. Palm Bay Live is a non-profit organization. Thank you for your continued support.
Who am I? I'm someone that believes in community and that dedicates hundreds of hours every year to serving the people of Brevard. Who am I? I'm a scholar that supports and believes in education, that donates countless dollars and hours to helping scholars learn, grow, and be better for our future. Who am I? I'm an advocate that stands up for those who can't stand up for themselves and that protects and defends the Constitution every single day. I'm Alton Edmond, and I'm running for Brevard County Sheriff. It's time for change.
For nearly 60 years, most politicians running for office in Palm Bay promised to fix the city's failing roads. In 2017, armed with a plan, Thomas Gaume and a small team of residents set out to accomplish this enormous task.
The need for alternate paths that are smoother than the roads, and the term grassfault will soon be a distant memory.
Tom believes in duplicating success. He started by visiting Northport, Florida, a GDC community exactly half the size of Palm Bay. Northport successfully fixed their roads with a road bond referendum, and Tom made several trips to Northport to fully understand the process.
In the 2018 election, 66% of Palm Bay voters approved a $150 million bond referendum. Now we're turning our failed roads into an economic engine to diversify our tax base and lure commercial businesses,
while at the same time looking out for the environment and the delicate ecosystem we call home.
That's what sets Thomas Gaume apart. He solves problems by creating teams of citizens to conquer even the most difficult issues. You might say that Tom is the man with a plan. Vote Thomas Gaume for Palm Bay City Council Seat 3 on November 3rd. For your family, your property, and our future.
Approved and paid for by Thomas Gaume for Palm Bay City Council Seat 3 non-present.
Hello Palm Bay, Randy Foster, candidate for Palm Bay City Council Seat 3. This political advertisement is approved and paid for by Randy Foster, candidate for Palm Bay City Council Seat 3. Public safety is important. As a councilman, that should be the number one priority when you come in office, public safety. And the people who provide that safety, who serve and protect, is Palm Bay Police Department and Palm Bay Fire Department. I went through a 2-hour process for each interview for an endorsement with Palm Bay Police and the Fire Department. The Palm Bay Fraternal Order Police, Lodge 111, endorsed me. Also, Palm Bay Fire Department endorsed me for the City Council Seat 3. My opponent decided not to go in front of them. He decided to go to the Space Coast Association of Realtors. Has nothing to do with public safety, and none of them probably works in Palm Bay. But I would have took the time out if I was him. And here are the men and women that serves and protect and keep you safe at home. So remember this when you go to the polls in November. If your brother, your sister, your uncle, your father, your cousin, your friend is a police officer in Palm Bay or a fighter, my opponent don't care what they're going through as a candidate running for office. I do. That's why they endorse me. Thank you, Palm Bay. And remember, I'm the only one with law enforcement experience and a history of providing safety throughout the public throughout these United States. Vote randyfoster.com. Vote for Randy Foster, a true leader. Thank you.
Hi, Palm Bay. I'm Ron Medina, your candidate for mayor. With your support, when elected, we will immediately move forward to take the necessary actions to restore transparency, to restore accountability, responsibility, and the respect of our beloved city. It's evident through recent audit findings and oversights meeting in Tallahassee that our city has engaged in financial decisions that clearly have put our citizens and our financial stability at risk. The headlines of our city once promoted a city that cares, finalists for a City of the Year, and a community with a great future. Now, today, the headlines promote our city as one with escalating crime, an interchange to nowhere, mismanagement, state-imposed audits, and playgrounds closing due to equipment being unsafe. We must stop this downward spiral of our once financial secured, beautiful community. We drive through flooded roads, potholes, and traffic jams. I pledge to you as your next mayor, I will shine light on these past budgets along with the poor decisions made so we can get the answers our citizens deserve and our state leaders demand. I encourage a forensic audit of all our city operations so we can bring all these things to light. This process will not be easy, but our future and that of our children depend on each and every one of us, ensuring accountability, ensuring professionalism, immediately replacing finger pointing, mismanagement, the rubber stamp process that brought this audit upon us. There are many serious questions. The business and residents of our cities deserve a government that they can trust and believe in. It is important to address these issues head on, for they've made a target of ridicule and skepticism from our surrounding neighbors and our very own residents. This will require strong leadership, transparent and sensible policy decisions, and constant commitment to ethical conduct. As mayor, my first goal will be to restore trust in our government. Government for the people, by the people. This is truly an opportunity for leadership by example. And as your mayor, I pledge to you that if I vote to approve a contract with a company to do business with our city, I will prohibit myself from receiving any future campaign funds from that said company. And I will encourage our council members to do the same. I believe as elected officials, we're held to a higher standard. The citizens of Palm Bay will be my only priority. We will address the many concerns of the finding of the state audit and encourage the open participation of our residents to provide oversight in our budget process. Hashtag the public trust. For a better Palm Bay, elect Rob Medina. May God bless you. May God continue to bless this great city we call Palm Bay. Hoorah! Hoorah!
A Christian, husband, father, long-term Palm Bay resident, small business owner, real estate investor, builder, humanitarian, has served as executive board member of multiple local non-profit organizations. He's currently serving on the City of Palm Bay Planning and Zoning Board and also the vice chairman of the Palm Bay Park and Recreation Advisory Board. He's experienced in city affairs and ready to go on day one. That's Donnie Felix. He stands for transparency, a strong infrastructure, supporting city staff, first responders, fire and police, diverse and affordable housing, small businesses and good-paying jobs, economic growth and sustainability for Palm Bay, and also a healthy environment for integrity, diversity, and service. Vote for Donnie Felix for Palm Bay City Council C2.
My name is Donnie J. Felix, and I approve this message.
Hello, Palm Bay. I am Kay Mirage, and I'm running to be your next mayor. I currently sit on the Planning and Zoning Board as well as our Community Development Advisory Board. I'm a mom, I'm a small business owner, and I've been married to my husband, Lynn Bolt, for 19 years. And together we have an amazing 17-year-old son who's about to head off to college. Palm Bay needs fresh, bold leadership, one who is an embracer of change, diversity, and inclusion, who is proactive and thinks outside the box. They need to be free from conflicts of interest and owes no favors to the who's who. Our next mayor should be informed and have a true understanding of the issues and be ready with plans to help solve them. They must be open to have dialogue with you and empathize with your concerns. I am that leader. I'm ready to work with council to earn back public trust, bring transparency and accountability to all levels of city government. I am your voice, and I'm that unifying force that is ready to guide our city towards smart growth and a very successful future. For more information, visit palmbayk.com. Vote K Mirage for Palm Bay Mayor. K is the right choice for Palm Bay. I'm K Mirage, and I approve this message.
Good evening, Palm Bay. Welcome to Palm Bay Live. And we have a lovely show planned for you tonight. Before I get into it, I want to set some ground rules for tonight so everybody's clear on the intent of why I decided to do this interview. I see that the community needs to heal from certain things, and one of them is this tit for tat that has been ongoing in the public sphere for a while in regards to Mr. Fine, Mr. Burns, and other issues that has come up during our community. It may not totally affect Palm Bay, but it affects the entire community, District 53 and a whole. And so therefore, I need to find a way to bridge the gap, for us to pretty much put an end to this back and forth. So that's why I decided to do this program. Not only that, members of the community reached out to me via email, phone calls. Kevin, try to do something like this where we can have community forums where this can pretty much be put to an end. So I'm answering that call, and I'm trying to do something that will hopefully appease the voters and appease the minds of the residents. And hopefully we can get some answers tonight from Mr. Burns, and we will be able to move forward as a community. So that's why I'm doing this. That's why I believe in my community. For those who have been watching me for a while, you know why I do this. I have a love for Palm Bay. I have a love for Brevard County. And that's why I decided to go down this road. Okay, so some ground rules. I'm going to be very clear. In interviewing Mr. Burns, one of the topics that I'm not going to discuss and what I will not be is a conduit between his relationship with his wife and his kids. So I will not entertain any questions in that regards, period, end of story. I don't believe kids, his wife should be in this conversation, period. And so I will not be entertaining those type of questions at all. So that's between him and his family. Those family matters should stay just like that, family matters. I'm not going to be bringing that up here. And so if you have questions along those lines, please do not try to post them because I will not take those questions. Kids are off limits for me. Miss Burns is off limits for me. She is, they will deal with that in their own privacy. And I don't believe family affairs should be entertained here on this show. Okay? So that's straight up where I'm at with that. Family is everything to me. And, you know, they have obviously have their family issues. Let them deal with it in their own privacy. And I don't believe this is a platform for that. So without further ado, let me bring them up on the screen. And also with me tonight is Ms. Renee Felty. Let me explain what's happening. What I'm trying to do is, and you notice I've posted several invites on the platform in regards to getting a Republican, a Democrat, and an MPA. We did have a Republican lined up, but he backed out. He had an emergency. And so I wasn't able to talk to him about what was happening tonight in total. I had a meeting with Ms. Renee yesterday, Ms. Renee Felty, And I discussed with her, and I told her the plan for tonight and what I'm trying to get done, and she agrees to be on the platform. Going forward, I would like to do more of these, to do more of these type of shows wherein we will bring in, Republicans, Democrats, MPAs alike to talk about hot button issues that's happening here in the county. For example, the other day we had the bribery scandal. I would have loved to be able to do a program like that surrounding that. But unfortunately, I was out of town. I had a death in the family. My grandma passed away, so I wasn't able to entertain that. I wasn't able to really dive into that. So that's why that was not done. However, I did get you an article, and the article is on the website at www.palmbaylive.com. You can go there and read the article. So without further ado, let me go ahead and bring them on the platform. All right, sir.
How's it going?
Good. Welcome to the platform. And we all know who you are. So, Mr. Burns, I'm going to do an opening statement here and to kind of set the stage of where we are.
Okay.
All right. Robert Burns, to say you're a controversial figure within the Palm Bay community would be an understatement. Although you're not running for political office, your name has been mirrored in controversy regarding past and recent activities about your conduct and alleged criminal past, all alleged. There has been a lot of time and energy focused on your dispute with Randy Fine, which is compromising the health of our community. We should be focusing on what really matters, supporting our community, providing resources to those in need, building our infrastructures, and working together to make Palm Bay a unified community. So that's the setting for tonight. Tonight, I would like to hear from you about these issues and take some time to talk about how we can move forward for the well-being of our community. First question to you, sir. You have had an ongoing and very public battle with Randy Fine. When did it start and what happened?
Thanks, Kevin, and thanks for having me on here tonight to try to clear the air, so to speak. The thing with Representative Fine and I goes back to 2018, I believe. I didn't know who Representative Fine was. I happened to be at a county commission, that meeting that I was speaking at, and he was presenting one of his bills to try to acquire a resolution from the county commission of support for his bill. And while I was sitting in the audience listening, what he proposed to me didn't make a lot of sense at the time. So I got up and asked a couple of questions about his bill. And then they asked him if he wanted to answer my questions, and he said no. And so I thought that was odd. So then I went and looked him up on Facebook and found him on Facebook, and I asked my questions there, and he deleted my comments and then he blocked me. So from that point on, I'm like, who is this guy? So I started to look into him, and then that's when I found out more and more about him. Then he started to do attacks towards Kenny, and then he tried to do those attacks to Kenny through me. So he tries to go at Kenny, or he tries to put pressure on me through Kenny, because there's not really anything he can do to me.
Okay. Is it true that it started about after 2019 legislation? I think you just answered that question, and what happened. So Randy Fine has accused you of harassing his mother on Mother's Day, but telling her that you had a video of her son with a prostitute. Is this true? Did this really happen?
No, that's not what happened at all. She commented on a Space Coast Rocket article, and the article doesn't say that either. I mean, that's something that Randy likes to say, but it does not say that at all. It says that Randy's name was mentioned twice in an FBI interview, and it was, and that's all that it says. It doesn't say that he had strippers in his office. It doesn't say any of that. He says that, but the article does not say any of that. Anyone at this time can go and read it right now, and I promise you. And the audio is in there as well, but it does not say that. What I asked his mother was, does she want to hear the tape? And I was referring to the tape in the article. That's it.
Okay. All right. Some of my questions are Randy Fine related. We're going to go off Randy Fine here in a second, but let's because of course, majority of the things in the public sphere surrounding Mr. Fine. And I'm not here to bash Mr. Fine. I'm just going to ask critical questions in order to clear the air. Randy Fine also accused you of making anti-Semitic comments and mines directed at him. How do you respond to those allegations?
First and foremost, I'm a Christian. I grew up as a Christian. I'm a preacher. You can find my sermons online on YouTube. I've been a man of God my entire life. My girlfriend at the time, when these accusations were made, was Jewish. It couldn't be further from the truth. If there was something I said that was anti-Semitic, then he would post it. There would be a screenshot. Whenever I make a claim about something, I post the screenshot, I post the documentation, I post the public record. If you go back for the last year and read anything that Randy Fine posts, it's just his words. There's no, if I said something anti-Semitic, it would be simple to prove that. Take a screenshot, post it. This is what he said. It's the same thing that he did to Phil Moore yesterday. He said he was caught red-handed and he posted some random picture that had nothing to do with his campaign signs. He just says things and people believe him without providing any evidence.
Okay. Let's see. Did you create the Facebook page called Randy Fine is Not So Fine? Is that your page?
Yes, I created that page.
Okay. So the authorities traced the computer back to your house. Is that true?
Yes, that's true.
Okay. Can you tell which client you created the page for?
I created that page. So I own a social media marketing company called The Social Wizards. Prior to getting into politics, that's what I did. I created websites. I created Facebook pages for organizations, and I ran their Facebook advertisements for them. A group of people, of about 10 people, approached me because they wanted to be able to express their feelings and their thoughts and what they found about Randy Fine in a way where he would not do what he does and what Commissioner Lober does and go after them and go after their employers. I'm pretty sure everyone knows how often Randy Fine threatens people, and he has no problem writing a letter on his state representative letterhead saying that you need to be removed and that you're anti-Semitic or whatever. He can't do anything to me. I don't work for anybody. I have a retirement. I have disability. There's nothing he can do to me. So it gives me a little bit more leeway that I don't have to be threatened that he's going to call Lockheed Martin to try to have me fired, as a state representative. And that comes with a lot of intimidation to an organization like that, where he's approving those types of contracts or at least voting on them. So, I'm not concerned about, what he wants to do or says about me, but there's not really anything he can do.
Okay. Ms. Renee, do you have a question for him?
Actually, I do. Okay, this election cycle, are you working with any of the candidates running in Palm Bay? I mean, are you now, or have you been during this election cycle?
No, during this election cycle, the only person I worked with was Marcy Adkins. After the primary was over, I haven't worked with anybody.
Go ahead, Ms. Renee. Ask your next question.
Okay, so keeping in with the primaries and considering your work with Marcy leading up to the primary against incumbent Randy Fine, can you explain how, or even if, you would have run that campaign any differently? Or at least your part of it.
I'll tell you exactly what I told Marcy when I met Marcy. When I was introduced to Marcy, I told her that I thought that she checked all the right boxes to be a good candidate. She has the education. She fits the right demographics, to be electable in this county. She is everything that Randy Fine is not, and that was positively and negatively. But what I did tell her was that with me helping her would be a distraction, and that I would advise her that she let me help her behind the scenes. her being who she was, and I didn't fully understand who she was at the time, was not going to allow that to happen. She is so transparent that she just would not take that advice. I think that if it did not become about me, and that's what it came about by design, you know, Randy Fine attacked me and attacked her by associating herself with me. It wasn't about her policies or her positions or anything like that. It was just a bunch of hyperbole, and that how could she associate herself with such a person? And so that's what it all became about. Even during her debates with her forum with Florida Today, they were asking her questions about me instead of questions about what she would do in Tallahassee. So it was very effective. It's exactly what Randy Fine does. He tries to assassinate somebody's character and point the finger at them so that no one pays attention to him. I mean, he did it to me. He's done it to Kenny. He's doing it to Marcy. He's doing it to Phil now. It's been effective for him, and the voters still support him. So he's not going to change that until the voters make a change. But to answer your question, if we could have gone forward without everyone in the world knowing that it was me, I think she would have done much better.
So that being said, and that particular race became all about you instead of the candidate. Going forward, I mean, seeing that this is your business, do you think that there is something else that you can do to prevent that from happening in the future, where, you know, you can perform your job function, but keep the adversarial nature of it out?
It's a tough question because you can't control what other people are going to do, right? I mean, if I could control Randy Fine, I would say, hey, Robert Burns isn't running for anything, leave him out of it, focus on the candidate. But they don't have anything else what else is he going to say? What could he say about Marcy Atkins? She's a PhD, she lives on the farm, you know, she's textbook perfect person. What's he going to say about her? He can't, so he's going to have to attack me. And I feel like in the future that's probably going to be the same for a lot of candidates. And if the opposition knows that I am going to be helping them, which is not hard to figure out. I mean, all you have to do is look at campaign finance reports, whether it's paid directly to me or to my firm or wherever, that you will be able to figure out that I'm there in some shape, form, or fashion. So it's going to be tough. It's just going to be something that I'm going to have to figure out how to deal with. And, you know, there's a couple of things we're working on now, but the first and foremost is, you know, doing things like this to make sure that people can see the truth. You know, Randy can say whatever he wants to say. He's not going to show you. He's going to say it. You know, I'm here. I'm not blocking anybody. I'm here to answer any questions that I can. And I'm here to show any evidence that anyone wants to see.
Okay. Do you have more questions, Renee?
Nope, go ahead, Kevin. I've got a few for later.
Okay, all right, great. So, all right, let's get to, I'm going to kind of move off of Randy Fine right now.
Sure.
And go straight to your military career, because there's been a lot of innuendos, stuff being said. Sir, were you honorably discharged from the military?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have a criminal background?
I mean, I don't know what background means. Have I been arrested? Yes, I've been arrested.
Okay, what for?
I was arrested for domestic violence with I think I've spoke about it briefly, but I was arrested for domestic violence with an argument with my wife in South Carolina when I was trying to leave my house. She wouldn't let me leave the house after a extensive time of arguing. She took the keys. I grabbed her wrist. I took the keys back. She called the police. In South Carolina, the law is if you call the police for domestic violence, somebody's going to jail. I went to jail.
Okay. Were you in the military at the time?
Yes. It's stationed in South Carolina.
Okay. So did you have any reprimands from the military for that?
No. What happened, I got I pled guilty to a lesser charge. And again, you know, one of the things that Randy Fine says constantly is that I'm a 6-state felon. I have no felonies whatsoever, zero. I own guns. If I had a felon, if I was a felon, I could not say that right now without having law enforcement coming to me. I'm letting FBI, Wayne Ivey, whoever's watching, I have lots of guns. Okay, so I am not a felon. That would be something that's very easy to prove. But yet again, no one asked for Randy to prove those things. We even go out of our way and hire attorneys to do background checks and show in all 50 states I have nothing, and that's still not good enough. They'll take Randy's word over anything. But no, I was not reprimanded by the military. I did take an anger management class, which is kind of a standard thing, when you have any kind of incident like that, and it was something that I needed to do anyway. I do suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder. I take medication for it. It's something I had to struggle with for a while before I actually went to be seen for it, and that was something that was going on at that time as well. But I pled guilty to simple assault, which is a third, this is the lowest misdemeanor you can have, and I paid a $50 fine.
Okay, sir. Let's go to the most severe accusations that I've been hearing or reading in the public sphere. Rape allegations.
Sure.
Okay. Did that ever occur? Did he ever rape someone?
No, never.
Okay. There was a press conference involving a young lady at Mr. Fine's office. Do you know her?
Yes, I know her.
Okay. Did what she alleged ever occur to her?
No, never.
Is that something that you can talk about?
Sure, I can talk about it all day.
Okay, please expound on it. Let me.
What you have here is a poorly coordinated attack. So when I was arrested, with the domestic violence charge, that was the last time I lived in my house. Now, when I left my house, all of my military records, everything was there. My ex has possession of all of those records. Now, the day before Miss Logan made this post, you were doing a Palm Bay Live interview of Marcy, and my ex was on there questioning Marcy about this incident. And the following day, Miss Logan makes this post saying that she unblocked me. Well, that's the first lie, because number one, my Facebook is a new Facebook account. The Facebook that I have now has only existed for the last maybe 4 years. I think 4 years. So she would not have ever known this account existed to block me. The account that she had blocked no longer exists. So that was the first lie. The second thing was that my ex telegraphed that they were doing this. The third thing is, when he flies her down here, she says that she doesn't have the record. He says that he doesn't have the record and he can't get it because it's over the weekend. She says that she never got it. But all of a sudden, he produces parts of it for the press packet. Now, where did that come from? I can tell you where it came from. It came from my ex, because she has it. And she has the full investigation. But they only showed the accusations, period. And there's a reason for that. When you have the 150-something page investigation with the disposition, and it doesn't fit your narrative, then you're not going to provide that whole packet. So you can see where people ask Randy where he got it. He says, how does it matter? Why does it matter? And then he published part of her medical record as a result of it. And she got angry because she thought I did. I don't have it. He does. And she does. So once she found out that he published it, then it became okay. So that never happened. Her own friend who was there the night in question testified against her. And there was no trial. We didn't have to go to trial. There was no plea deal. There was an investigation, and it was dismissed, period.
Okay. I have no way of sharing this on the screen, but you sent me a letter tonight in regards to these allegations, I believe. Can you summarize what it is? And hopefully with your permission, we can post it later. I'm not sure. Is that something that we can post?
Sure, yeah.
Okay, so can you summarize what the letter was about? And audience, he just gave me permission. I will post the letter on Palm Bay Live at some point tonight. Go ahead.
So what happened during the investigation took place for, I believe, about 9 months. It was lengthy. During that time, she went and requested a civilian restraining order through the civilian courts outside of the military. Our commander at the time, who was a female, her name was Captain Perose, wrote a letter to the civilian judge stating that she did not feel that I was a threat whatsoever to Miss Logan, and that she would ask that she modify or not approve this restraining order. And she also states in the letter that we were both under investigation over this incident. And they call it an alcohol-related incident.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to move off the rape allegations, and hopefully I answered you. He answered some of your questions there. Let's talk about recent incidents, sir. Brian West, you know that name?
Yes.
Okay. Why did you take money from him?
Because he hired me. He hired me to consult for a mayoral race down in Martin County in a place called Indiantown. So a town of about 5,000 people. So I ran a race down there for them.
Okay, so it had nothing to do with Palm Bay officials?
No, it did not.
Okay, all right. Because we were led to believe it had something to do with giving money to individuals that's running in this political cycle for the council of Palm Bay. So that, okay.
So I can elaborate on it a little bit. So I own a political action committee. One of the functions of some political action committees, like Trey Holton's, for example, or Mike Herodopoulos, is that they use the PACs to give money from one PAC to another, because those PACs do not have the financial limitations that, as opposed to giving to a candidate. So if I can only give a candidate $1,000 per election, and I want to exceed helping that candidate that way, I can give money to a PAC that supports that candidate, and there is no limit on how much you can give to the PAC. My PAC was not set up for that. My PAC is in existence solely for expenditures to spend money on advertisements, on billboards, things like that, not to move money from one source to another source. So what you'll see when you look at like Trey Holton's PAC, he takes money from Mike Herodopoulos' PAC, he takes it, moves it to his PAC, and then he gives it to other candidates that are running for other offices, or he gives it to other PACs. That's not something that I wanted to get into. It's 100% legal. It's fine. It's just not something that I had set my PAC up for. That wasn't what it was for. When I was asked to do that, I explained that. I said, if you want to give money to X, Y, and Z, then you are more than capable of doing that. If you want to give more than $1,000 and you own a business, you can give money through your business. So after giving them that information, that's where I went from there. They asked for money back. They got their money back. I've shown all the records for that. When I'm retained for consulting, it's a retainer, much like an attorney. So once that retainer spent up, then you pay another retainer. They asked for their money back. They got their money back. I've shown the credit card reversal charge and everything else. I don't know what more I can do than that.
Okay. Did you give, I don't know if you answered this, but did you give him money back? Yes, right?
Yes, they got $7,000 back. And it wasn't $10,000 like the article says. It was $7,000.
7,000. So it was not 10.
No, it was not 10.
Okay. All right. So that answers my other question. Did you have a question in regards to those lines, Ms. Renee? I don't know if you did.
I didn't have any along those lines.
Okay. There's allegations that you illegally funneled campaign money to Space Coast Rocket. Is that true, sir?
No, this is more made up Randy Fine stuff.
Okay.
The Space Coast Rocket has existed over a year. Martin's campaign started, I believe, in either the end of, I think in May. So it was just 4 or 5 months before the election. You know, so to say that I was funneling money for Marcy through the Space Coast rocket is just, it's ridiculous. Yeah.
All right, I have 2 more questions for you, but I'm going to save those to the end. Ms. Renee, go ahead and wrap up your line of questioning, and then we're going to take questions from the audience.
Okay, the Space Coast rocket question kind of segues into where I was going.
Sure.
In your role with the Space Coast rocket, do you feel that in the past and currently that the rocket is reporting objective, unbiased, and verified news? And why is it important that that reporting be objective and verified?
I appreciate that question, Renee. Thanks for asking that. Let me just give you a history of the rocket. So first of all, I'm not a journalist. I don't have any journalistic training whatsoever. Never even taken an elective course for it. All I know, I know things. You know, I invest a lot of time into researching the issues and the policies and the history of Brevard County. And as a result, I have a lot of information to share. And I also am presented a lot of information every single day. The reason I started the rocket was because there was no platform or media outlet that focused specifically on local politics. And when we were out knocking doors with Kenny and telling people that he was running for city council, one of the questions we got very frequently was, what is a city councilman? You know, people just don't know. They don't know the decisions that are being made that affect them more than anything that the president is going to say. So I wanted to find a way to educate people about what's going on around their community so that they can make informed decisions when it comes election day and not just vote for whoever they got told to vote for, or if someone has a D or R next to their name. So I created the rocket to try to give people the information that I have. You know, if the information that I have is very, very valuable, but it's valuable to everyone, not just me. So I try to put it out there that way. The reason that I started it with, I was writing under the pen name of Reginald Dwight, which is Elton John's real name, who's the Rocket Man. I just thought it was clever. I had just saw the movie. I thought it was funny. But I knew that as soon as people, just like with Marcy, the question you asked about Marcy earlier, as soon as people knew it was me writing the information, then they would attack the messenger instead of actually looking objectively at the message. So for the first few months, when those articles came out, people like Craig Halbert were like, oh my gosh, this is so disappointing. I can't believe this happened. Who would have thought this person did this? Because they were just looking at the evidence that was in the article, okay, the public record evidence. But once it became known that that was Robert Burns, then all of a sudden that evidence didn't matter anymore. Those public records didn't matter anymore. All that mattered is it was Robert Burns that wrote it. So we don't care what it says. It could say today's Tuesday and it's Tuesday, but Robert Burns said it, so it must be Monday. You know, so it became a distraction. So ever since I started the rocket, I've been trying to give it away because I want someone who's been trained. I don't, like I said, I have no journalistic training whatsoever. I just write the stuff. But I don't know AP format or whatever it is. I don't know the necessary ethics of journalism. And I probably should, you know, since I've taken this on voluntarily. But, you know, there's just so much time in a day, you know, and between my family and my job and doing this, I don't get paid for this. You know, we run ads on there, but those ads don't pay much at all. I saw that Randy Fine said something like there's no income for the Space Coast rocket. I mean, it runs ads just like everything else. So the rocket is there to try to give the public the same information that I have so that they can look at things that they may not have seen and make more informed decisions. That's the only purpose of the rocket. If it seems like it's biased, it's because we don't have a single elected Democrat in any partisan position in this county, not one. So if I'm writing something and it happens to be negative, it's going to happen to be about a Republican because that's all that we have, except for nonpartisan positions. And I think we only have about 3 of those that are Democrats. So, but inherently, the majority of the stories are going to be about Republicans because that's all that we have.
And kind of piggybacking off the Rocket, what drives your interest in local politics? And do you think, and I think Kevin hit on this a little bit, the fact that you kind of are a real polarizing figure in Palm Bay, do you think that your involvement in Palm Bay politics is more of a hindrance, or does it, bring an intrinsic value to the voters?
I would say yes and no. There's a small group of people, and some of them are in the comments right now, and it's the same 5 or 10 people, whether it's here or whether it's on a Palm Bay community or not Palm Bay community, city council meeting. It's the same 5 or 10 people saying the same stuff over and over again. There's 117,000 people in the city of Palm Bay. Now, I do a lot of things for the city of Palm Bay that these people have no idea about, zero, no clue, because all they care about is, Robert Burns this and wife beater, he doesn't pay child support. None of that's true, but that's what they've been saying it all day, all night on here now. Same things, Randy Fine sends out text messages threatening the schools or telling people that Kenny's a sexual predator, and it's all the same small group of people saying the same stuff over and over again. But for the positive things that we do, it affects the entire city, and they don't even know it because we don't need the credit for it. We just do it. I grew up in Palm Bay. There's a reason I moved back here when I retired. I moved back to the community that I grew up in because I care about it. My kids live here. My family lives here. That's why I do it.
Okay, switching it up a little bit. On the larger level, not just Palm Bay, do you think that political theater and drama like this has overshadowed actual policy making and service to the people? And is there any way that we can change that?
It certainly has created a big divide and a distraction. When you look at Marcy's race specifically, I can speak on that one because I was involved with it. There was not a single policy discussion. If you go to Randy Fine's webpage right now, it's still not there. It says coming in April. There's nothing there. There's no policy. He has not talked about anything from his last legislative session. All he talks about is food drives, COVID-19. He doesn't even do that anymore. And, and me, and now Phil. So you don't hear him talking about what he's going to do for the Indian River Lagoon. You hear him talk about what he says he was going to do, but he hasn't done any of it. So there is no discussion about policy because people like this drama more. Somebody's asking, did you were you driving on a suspended license? There's no substance. There's nothing about the policies that are going to affect people. They want to know about drama, and that's because Randy Fine has made it about drama. He's made it about headlines. Every single thing he writes on his Facebook is breaking news, and the media publishes it because they need stories, but it's not breaking news. It's just more drama to distract from actual policies and things that actually matter to citizens.
Ms. Renee there? Any more questions?
Nope, I'm good, Kevin.
All right, great. All right. So again, important questions. I mean, not when I say important questions, I'm talking about appropriate questions, actually. That's what I'm trying to say. And remember what I say at the top of the hour. I will not entertain any questions in regards to his wife or his ex-wife or his kids. I will just not tolerate it on this platform. I will not go into that. I think kids should be out of the picture. His wife should be out of the picture. Let them deal with that in their own privacy, in their own time. And Ms. Burns did reach out to me at one point in time, and I did send her an email saying just the same, that I'm not going to bring her kids into this arena in this way. So I'm a family man. and I believe in strong family units, and kids may be able to watch this video at some other time in their life when they get older. I just don't want them to pull this up and they see me asking him questions about them. And I just don't want that. That's
Wait, Kevin, can I jump in for a second? Because I see something popping up from Mr. Thomas Redman. He says,
I want to bring those questions on screen. You hear that again?
Yeah, I definitely want to get to that one, especially.
Okay, I'm going to bring those questions. I'm going to slow down on the questions. Mr. Renier, you're going to help me moderate here. That's why I have you here. So you're going to help me because I'm going to have to go through I told you guys before, this is why I don't like taking live questions, because the questions come in hard and fast, and I miss questions, and then becomes a problem afterwards because you guys email me and curse me out that I didn't ask the question that you posed. So please slow down so I can find them. All right, let me go with Mr. Redmond since you mentioned it. Let me pop it up there. Ask us, please, why do you keep claiming to be retired from the military when actually you were medically discharged with a disability with less than 20 years of service? Go ahead.
Well, I mean, why do I keep claiming that? Because I am, and him more than anyone, especially somebody who likes to walk around in his uniform today, like he's still in the military. No, this is a retired identification card. Let's see what else we got. Certificate of retirement. Yeah, because I am retired, Tom. That's why. Just because I didn't finish, I did 17 and a half years instead of 20 does not mean that I'm not retired. I am medically retired. I get a retirement, and I have a retirement identification card. That's how it works.
Okay, and along those lines, I did see folks posting on social media that those documents are fake. Are they fake?
I mean, this would be a federal crime for me to be carrying around a fake, military identification card. I'm showing you right here. You can see the holograms in it. I sent a screenshot of my actual screen pulling up my disability from the actual website. I mean, I can't fake a VA website, but I mean, people are going to say, whatever they want to say. It's irrelevant. The bottom line, I'm retired, and they can say I'm not retired, but I get a check every month. That's real.
So you are medically retired?
Yes, I'm medically retired. I'm 100% disabled from wounds that I got in Iraq. So as a result of that, I was not physically able to continue to do the minimum physical requirements of my job, which allows you to be medically retired.
Okay. Can you elaborate on what other things you're involved in the city of Palm Bay other than visual politics? You said that you were involved in other things. So what are those other things?
Besides politics?
Yes, sir.
Well, I mean, most of it is politics. So what I mean when people don't see it is because they don't see it on Facebook. But as far as advising on policy and helping to create programs, going to workshops and creating things for Turkey Creek and the Indian River Lagoon, participating in developing some of those studies and some of those boards, just advising on that information, creating videos and marketing campaigns for some of those organizations. That's for Palm Bay specifically. I mean, I don't know what else.
All right, let me see. I'm looking for your other questions.
This is not a beer. This is sweet tea.
Okay.
No, this is sweet tea. It's just all my glasses are dirty, so it's in a little military glass thing here.
Somebody's saying that your wife has all your papers and those are fake. I see that comment. I'm not going to put on the screen because, again, I'm trying to stay away from the wife and anything that alleged with the wife questions. I'm not putting on it. I'm not getting the back and forth with that. Let's see.
And the thing he said, I was convicted of embezzling $20,000. If I was convicted of these things, I'd be in prison. Okay, but as you can see, for that one, I had the actual full report and I had the disposition. And I showed the documents where it says not guilty, which is kind of the opposite of convicted. But they don't show those things because it's not as good as a story.
Okay. All right. So I just got a statement that came in on my phone. Deandra Lynn, you know that name, right?
Miss Logan, yeah.
Miss Lynn, she sent me a statement. Hold on, I'm going to read it for the audience because I can't share it on the screen. She was trying to message me. She wanted to be on the show just now, and I can't entertain her because we're getting ready to close out, and it would be the back and forth thing but I told her to write me a statement. So I'm going to read it aloud.
Sure.
It says, Robert Burns did rape me in April of 2011. I was never on trial. I was also never under investigation. The officer in charge of the trial determined his innocence based on the fact that I didn't force him out of my home. I wasn't wearing my wedding ring at the Article 32 hearing 8 months later, and I had previously had an alcohol-related offense unrelated to this case. I am the one that decided not to move forward as a military, and my unit made it absolutely miserable for me. I have recently discovered through a records audit that he illegally accessed my records 3 times over 2 years in 2 different states by abusing his access to the medical records system. It was confirmed by the HIPAA officer, I'm not going to call it in names, whoever that HIPAA officer is, at Evans Army Hospital. She wants to say there was a case file shown to me during my trial prep for a second girl in Korea whose story was the same. And a third woman recently contacted me to say he did the same thing to her. No one is trying to John Tucker Robert Burns, but everyone deserves to know when they are in close proximity to someone dangerous, unethical, and evil. All right, your response.
I mean, I don't want to keep. This was 10 years ago. There was a civilian police investigation. There was a military police investigation. There is a problem in the military with them not investigating allegations, but that is not this case. This case was investigated thoroughly for 9 months by civilian and military authorities, and they both came to the same conclusion, that it was dismissed. They found her to not be credible. Her own best friend who was there that night testified against her. What she doesn't know, because we didn't even have to go to trial, is that her neighbors have a surveillance camera system of their house that contradicts everything that she said of what happened that night and how I ended up at her house, passed out drunk. So we didn't even have to use that because we'd never even went to a trial because her own statements discredited her. She said it then, she says it now, that the military didn't believe her. They didn't believe her then, and neither did the civilians. So I understand that she wants to she has some kind of message that she wants to portray. That's great, but she's not going to continue to lie about me. She's asked to come down here to speak again. They've tried to have me arrested again for violating this same restraining order when she's contacting me. And you just said that she just asked to come on the show right now. So she's going to try and ask to come on the show and then try to have me arrested for violating the restraining order. It's attention seeking. Her story makes absolutely 0 sense whatsoever. She says that she got drugged the night before and somehow the drugs didn't take effect until 8 hours later the next day. And then miraculously the drugs were out of her system because she waited 8 hours to go to the hospital. None of that makes any sense, especially to a chain of command full of doctors and nurses. Okay, so that's why the thing was dismissed, because she was lying.
All right. Do you have a driver's license right now, sir?
Yes, I do.
Okay. I saw a comment that your driver's license was suspended. Was it ever suspended?
My driver's license was expired, but it's not suspended. My driver's license right there.
All right, all right. Yeah, I'm not sure why that is a matter right now, because what I'm trying to do is just clear the air on certain things. Let me see. Is there any more questions from the audience? Ms. DeAndre, I think I pronounced your name correctly. I know you're watching. Hopefully, I appease you by reading that statement that you wrote for me to read on the air. And I'm trying to be fair and have this balance so we have both sides of the story in that regard. So hopefully I did you justice by reading that aloud.
Well, and additionally, Randy Fine said that 4 more women came to him recently. I don't know why these people are going to him instead of law enforcement, but he says 4 more women just came to him. You know, I'm being investigated for this, I'm being investigated for that. I've never been arrested once, not a single time. You know, so he's just going to continue to make these accusations because these people right here in the comments will eat it up, but he's not going to show you any evidence. None.
All right. The end result is this. Now we're coming to the close of the interview, but I don't see. Okay, there was a question about you currently working with any candidates. I think we asked that already, though. Can you answer it again, please? Are you working with any Palm Bay local candidates right now?
I'm not working with any candidate anywhere in the country right now. No.
Okay. All right. Hopefully that is answered. Let's see. I know this is hard. I know I see the comments, guys, and I know. I mean, I have good intentions, and we're doing this show. It's pretty much is to try to clear the air once and for all, instead of having us being keyboard warriors in front of the keyboard, going back and forth on and trying to figure out what is what. And so it is. I wanted to put an end to this some way, somehow. So, Mr. Burns, I have a tough question for you.
Sure.
Is it time to call a truce between you and Randy Fine?
Well, listen, I'm all about forgiveness, but he won't stop. Randy Fine won't stop. After the election, you didn't hear a word from me. Matter of fact, I wrote a very humbling statement saying how it was tough to lose. I haven't lost before, blah, blah, blah. Good luck, Randy Fine. Every day after that, there was a post from Randy Fine about Robert Burns. I've never ran for anything. I'm not in office. I'm not a public servant, none of that. But every day he posts something about me, and every time it's a lie. So it's hard to move on from that when he won't. But I can tell you what he won't do. He won't do this. He won't come on here and take questions live, from you or from the constituency, which is why he canceled his interview the last time, because he can't answer those questions.
And let me interject, because I did see comments in that regards. If I invite Mr. Fine and all that good stuff, Mr. Fine will never appear in Palm Bay Live, and we know why. And this goes back to the Janice Chris interview, and he said so. He told me so. My wife spoke to him, and I can bring my wife on the show as a testimony. My wife spoke to him at length, and he's pretty much said that he will never appear on Palm Bay Live because of Janice Chris situation. And everybody knows what happened back then. So I'm not going to go back and forth and try to invite him to the program, because we already know he made a statement that he will not appear. So that's done. So in case you guys want to know, now he's out there. You guys know he will never appear in Palm Bay Live, and that's what it is.
He won't appear anywhere where he can be asked questions that he can't control. I can promise you that.
Okay. Let's see. Was there any more questions before I let Mr. Burns go for the night? Hopefully, I try to do to have this platform again to try to clear the air, because I as a community, we should find a way to move on. And I don't know how, but we have to find a way. And so my last question to you, sir, is what can we do to move on from all of this? Is there a way for us is there a pathway for us to move on so we can build our community? So Mr. Fine and whoever else, it's even said, I've spoke to several parties that's close to this thing, and people have called me, both Republicans and Democrats, to hear out their concerns. And this is why I'm doing this, because I've heard from different individuals who's high up in office who have called me privately on my cell phone. And have talked to me about these kind of issues. And it's been said that in the primary, you were the guy on the ticket. It was Miss Marcy Atkins.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure you heard that before, right?
Yeah, I hear it all the time.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. What it's going to take, Kevin, is this. Number one, you're going to have to get rid of Randy Fine. Only the voters can do that.
I can't pine on that.
Only the voters can do that. But he's found an effective way to win, and it's by doing exactly this. If I ask him, if I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing, if Randy Fine tries to propose a bill, and I see that it's ripping off people in Brevard, and he says he's holding people accountable by paying fines, that's money that leaves Brevard County and goes to the state where they can do whatever they want to. That doesn't help the Indian River Lagoon at all. That helps his people in the state. That money leaves here. It doesn't come back. So if he proposes something like that and tries to hide it in political talk and political speak so that it sounds like he's doing something positive and holding corrupt politicians accountable, I'm going to say that he's not, because people need to do more than just hear what he's saying, because he's obviously lacking a lot of integrity. Everything he posts about me starts with 6-state felon Robert Burns. We know that's a lie. Everyone knows that's a lie. So why are you giving credit to anything he has to say after that? So until we get rid of him and people like him, we're going to continue to have this kind of vitriol where politicians that can't take criticism.
Clear the air. When did you get out of the service?
Me?
Yes. When did you retire out of
January 2017.
Okay. And so these criminal convictions, okay. So these criminal convictions that is labeled out there happened supposedly when?
I didn't hear the first part of what you said.
These criminal convictions supposedly happened, allegedly happened, that was stated by Mr. Fine.
I have no idea. He said I had a felony in Alabama. I've never been in Alabama. I don't know. I don't know when these supposedly happened. They haven't happened here. Anybody can look me up on the Brevard Clerk Court's website. You'll see that I got 2 stop sign tickets.
Right.
That's it. So
I'm not trying to defend Mr. Burns, and I'm nowhere associated with him. So I want to clear the air where that is concerned too as well, because I've seen those comments that somehow me and you are tied to the hip, and I'm not sure why they get that picture. But I do post my videos on his website, on his website, because he gave me permission to. So I do post his stuff on my website to broaden my business. So that does happen, and I'm going to admit to that because I want to get the exposure for my business. But as a military person, and for those who know me personally, know that I was in the military, I can tell you point blankly is that if you have a criminal conduct, there's no way you would have been discharged with an honorable discharge, or even a medical discharge for that matter. That's just my take on it. So that's what I'm trying to iron out or field out to, so if anybody has proof otherwise, please bring it to me, because I would love to do a story on it and call it for what it is. It is what it is. Miss Renee, you have any more questions?
I do not.
Okay. Okay, well, with that said, I think we have exposed as much as we can expose. I pray to God that we had some kind of, I don't know, gap bridging, gap that kind of close.
Let me just say this, Devin.
Over to the next milestone. Yes, sir.
Let me just say this. I'm a very open person. I don't have anything to hide. I don't care what you think about me. I wake up every day. I take care of my kids. I'm going to get my check in the mail, and I'm going to keep doing what I want to do because I choose how to live my life. If anyone has a problem with anything that I say, anyone has a problem with anything that I do, I'm more than happy to talk to you about it. Other than the name calling and all that stuff on Facebook. If you want to go to dinner, I'll pay for the dinner. We can sit down and talk. We can hash out any differences. I think you'll probably be surprised on the positions that I have are probably not what you think that they are, because you believe everything. And for the record, I am a Republican. I am not a Democrat. That's another thing that Randy Fine says all the time. Just because I've helped Democrats in the past or MPAs in the past or Republicans, that's got nothing to do with my own personal party affiliation.
Were you ever registered as a Democrat?
I was registered as a Democrat because I had to do it to go into a Democratic meeting one time to go pick up a check for Kenny. So in order to go into those meetings, you have to be a Democrat. So I changed my registration that day, and then I changed it back.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's it. I mean, I have no other questions for him, and pretty much it's bedtime. We have work tomorrow for most of us. So I like I said, hopefully we did something tonight that will solve a lot of the questions. If not, you have heard the answers directly from his mouth. I mean, there's no keyboard involved. You've heard directly from the man. You hear his insight into why these things happen. I mean, we all can agree. There's a lot of controversy out there. It seems like things always follow your name, and your name gets thrown into different conversations. Right or wrong, I don't know. That's not for me to decide. I'm a media person. I new at this game, and I'm not here to take sides. I am just here to ask the tough questions, and I gave you guys a platform to ask them the questions, but we didn't get much questions. But I gave you guys a platform to ask them the questions that I see sometimes pop up. But again, the only thing that I would not do tonight is go into his wife or his children. I refuse. I will not do that. This is not the platform for it. Let them do that behind their closed doors and take care of that on their own time. I'm not going to be a conduit for that kind of information, but going back and forth. All right. So thank you so much for everyone for joining me tonight. And don't forget, go out and vote. Vote your conscience. Early voting is on. I think the polls are open from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. daily. The weekend hours, I believe, are kind of different. So check out votebrevard.gov and look there to see exactly where the polling station is near you, so you can be able to find one and go and vote early. You do not have to necessarily be in any particular location during early voting. They will print that ballot for you and specific for you, and that will be it. But I thank you guys for joining me. Thursday night I have another show with Mr. Philip Snyder, and so please don't forget to log on at 8 p.m. for that show. And again, the floor is open. I'm looking for a Republican and a Democrat to join me. I'm going to keep Mr. Renee Felty as a part of the forum. So when we have these forum, we can pretty much be able to have questions, not just from me, but from those other two, so you can hear different viewpoints, because, and that kind of thing. And so that's what I'm trying to do going forward. So if you would like to be a part of that, please send me an email, kevin@palmbaylive.com, kevin@palmbaylive.com, and saying you're interested. Have a good night, Palm Bay. Love you guys. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Kevin.
Bye-bye.